You, as you said, have been a very frank critic of Fed Chairman Powell. It's also the case that you've been discussed for at least a decade as a possible Fed chairman yourself. I want to ask, without specific criticism of Powell, what you would do if you were Fed chairman now that isn't being done. Are there additional instruments, tools that could be used that might uh, smooth this process and make it a little less bumpy?
I don't think there are additional instruments for the Fed to use. I think that I would distinguish somewhat more sharply between um, the quantitative easing policies with respect to mortgage securities and with respect to treasuries than the Fed has, because I think that needlessly exacerbated the housing bubble. I do think there needs to be considerable soul searching at the Fed as to how they missed this as badly as they did. They were declaring that inflation would be transitory through most of 2021, even as it was becoming clearer and clearer to a growing number of observers that inflation was not on a path to being purely transitory. So I think some review of the modeling and forecasting techniques that the Fed uses is in order, and I think it would give confidence that these kinds of mistakes are less likely to be repeated in the future. You know, David, I did an experiment. I'm not sure it was done exactly right, and I'm sure there are people who would quibble with the way it was done. But I asked a research assistant to take the FURBUS, FRBUS macroeconometric model and take that model and simulate a hypothetical experiment in which we added 10% of the budget deficit every year for 6 or 7 years and say what happened to inflation. And that model said that the inflation rate at the end of those 6 or 7 years would go up by 70 basis points. Well, if that's even close to right, that says much more about the FRB-US model that is used at the Fed than it says about the US economy. So I think there does need to be some soul searching here at the Fed, some after action analysis of what has happened. Now, it may be that that is underway, and I know that Chairman Powell and others at the Fed are always looking for outside advice as to what best to do. But I think that is something that would be in order.